Hello and welcome. Today we're going to learn about dependent variables and independent variables. Dependent variables change in response to another variable, called an independent variable. An independent variable causes the change in a dependent variable. It is independent because its value is not affected by other variables. The distance a car travels d is dependent on the speed s at which it travels. Speed is the independent variable. The distance is dependent. Let's take a look at example number 1. An orchard sells apples by the pound. Each day, P pounds of apples are sold, and the amount of money taken in, M, is recorded. Which variable, P or M, depends on the other variable? When you think about how total cost is dependent on the amount and price of items sold, you are reasoning quantitatively. A dependent variable changes in response to another variable. It depends on something. So the amount of money M taken in depends on the number of pounds P, so M is dependent variable. An independent variable causes the dependent variable to change. The number of apples sold P affects the amount of money taken in, M, so P is the independent variable. Let's try it. A baker used a certain number of cups of batter, B, to make pancakes. Which variable, P pancakes or B batter, is the dependent variable? What do you think? Let's take a moment and explain. If you said that P pancakes is the dependent variable, you would be correct. The batter, B, would be independent. Depending on how much batter you use, will tell you how many pancakes, P, you make. In some cases, you can have multiple independent or dependent variables. A bike shop rents beach cruiser bikes and mountain bikes. Customers can rent these items by the day or the week. What are the independent and dependent variables involved in the cost of the rental? Step number 1. Identify the variables involved in the cost of the rental. Every variable is a letter that represents a number that stands for something. So we have beach cruisers, B, mountain bikes, M, length of the rental, L, price per day, D, price per week, W, and the total cost of the rental. Determine which of the variables are independent or dependent. The beach cruiser B would be dependent on the rate per day or week. The cost would change depending on if you're renting it for the day or the week. Same goes for the mountain bike. The length of the rental would be independent and causes the total rental cost to change. You determine how long you're renting it. The price per day, D, is independent, and causes the total rental cost to change. The price isn't going to change. The price per week is also independent. It is a set price. It will not change. And the total rental cost is indeed dependent because it depends on which bike you will rent and the length of time you rent it. Let's try another one on our own. Jenna wants to rent a mountain bike by the week. Identify the variables that affect the total rental cost. So in this case, Our bikes are going to be independent. How come? Because we know she wants to rent the mountain bike for a week. Therefore, this will be independent. Now, the dependent variable will be the total price of the rental. This concludes our lesson.